Hi, my name is Ricky Kassar, and Strangeverse Gaming is the name I plan to use for my future game development projects. One of my main strengths in game design is working with gameplay systems and mechanics. I enjoy figuring out how different systems connect together and using Unreal Engine blueprints to make those systems work. One of my weaknesses is managing the scope of my ideas. I tend to come up with larger concepts that include a lot of different mechanics, so sometimes I have to narrow my ideas down and focus on the most important features first. This month, project management has helped me get better at breaking larger ideas into smaller tasks and deciding what actually needs to be completed first. This month, I completed four main pieces of work that built on each other. First, I created my game concept for Refraction Chromatic Siege. Next, I created a feature list that broke the game down into its 7 main systems. After that, I used ClickUp to turn these features into detailed project management cards. Finally, I used Hack and Plan to create a project backlog, a 1-week sprint backlog, and a project documentation. The first project management software I used this month was ClickUp. I used it to create individual cards for all 7 features from my feature list. Each card included a user story, a description, completion criteria, and a priority. This gave me a way to take larger game systems and break them into individual pieces of work. The 7 cards I created were the core defense system, prism tower placement, the glyph system, chromatic enemy types, the wave system, resource collection, and permanent upgrade progression. I liked that ClickUp gave me a lot of flexibility and made the individual tasks easy to read. My main issue with it was that it felt like it had more features and options than I really needed for a small solo game project. The second project management software I used was Hack and Plan. This was my favorite of the two tools because it's specifically designed around game development. I used the product backlog to focus on 3 features that create the basic gameplay loop: the core defense system, prism tower placement, and the wave system. Each work item includes a user story, description, priority, estimated time, and assignment. I then moved those 3 features into 1-week sprint called Sprint 1, Core Gameplay. The board separates the work into planned, in progress, testing, and completed. Out of the 2 tools, I would use Hack and Plan again for future game project. ClickUp is more flexible and could be useful for many different types of projects, but Hack and Plan felt more focused on what I actually need as a game developer. The part I liked most was being able to separate the full product backlog from the work I am currently doing in a sprint. This directly helps with one of my biggest weaknesses, which is managing scope. I can still keep track of larger ideas without feeling like I need to work on everything at the same time. My game concept is called Refraction Chromatic Siege. Refraction Chromatic Siege is an idle tower defense game where players defend the core, the world's final source of light, by constructing magical prisms that automatically attack enemies and placing powerful glyphs, temporary magical runes that strengthen the defenses for each wave. As new enemy colors emerge and combine, players must continually adapt their strategy to survive endless waves of chromatic creatures. The game currently has 7 key features. The first is the Prism Defense System, which allows players to construct and upgrade magical prisms. The second is the Chromatic Enemy System, where different enemy colors have different behaviors and abilities. The third is the Glyph System, which allows players to place temporary magical effects before each wave. The fourth is the Progression System, where players earn shards to improve their defenses and unlock new options. The fifth is the Wave Preparation System, which lets players preview upcoming enemies and adjust their strategy before combat. The sixth is the Refraction Progression System, which allows players to reset their progress in exchange for permanent bonuses. The seventh is Endless Siege Mode, where players continue fighting increasingly difficult waves and try to reach a new personal record. These are the core defense system, prism tower placement, and the wave system. I chose these three because together they create the basic gameplay loop. The player needs something to defend, a way to place defenses, and enemies that attack in waves. The core defense system is estimated at 4 hours and marked as high importance. The user story explains that the player needs to defend the core so that they have a clear objective during gameplay. Prism tower placement is estimated at 6 hours. This system allows the player to spend resources to place towers that automatically attack nearby enemies. The wave system is estimated at 5 hours and controls groups of enemies spawning over time, with each wave increasing in difficulty. I moved all three work items into my first 1 week sprint. My sprint goal is to create the core gameplay foundation by implementing the core defense, prism tower placement, and wave system. All three features currently begin in planned. As development continues, I can move them into progress, then testing, and finally completed. This gives me a clear view of what I am currently working on and what still needs to be finished. I also used HacknPlan's documentation section to keep important project information inside the same software. This game concept document gives a short overview of the game and the goal of the 4-week vertical slice. I also created a feature list document containing all 7 planned features. This lets me keep the larger game idea documented while only moving the features I currently need into my active sprint. Overall, using both ClickUp and HacknPlan helped me better understand how project management tools can be used during game development. ClickUp gave me a flexible way to create and organize detailed feature cards, while HacknPlan gave me a more focused workflow for managing game projects. For future projects, I would choose HacknPlan because I prefer its game development focused layout and the way it separates the full backlog from the current sprint. For Refraction Chromatic Siege, it has helped me narrow the project down to the most important systems and create a clearer plan for completing the 4-week vertical slice. Thank you for watching.